Thank you very much. So let me set the scene. A user just waking up. And like most of us, what they want to do is to grab their phones to check some things. The moment is very quiet, but expectation is very high. They tap on your app and then it loads or it doesn't. Maybe it's like just a missed API call, a re-rendering issue, a bit of delay. And for us, it might not feel like a big deal. But for the customer is very annoyed and they didn't have their coffee yet. Now let's flip on another side. So there is a team, lots of product owners, developers, SREs, and all of them are trying to understand what actually went wrong. And without observability, they're just blind. Is it a front-end problem, a back-end problem, a database problem, or network problem? So this is where observability comes in. Let me introduce myself. My name is Yulia, and I work as a sales engineer in Datadog. I have started my career working for WhatsApp and working for British Telecom as a software engineer. And 3 years ago, I have moved into more observability space. Okay, so going back to our example. The user is frustrated, the team doesn't know what's happening. And there is no surprise to that. Current modern applications are really complex. They're built on multiple microservices, they have third-party dependencies, and also they're built by different teams that are not collocated, and they have really tight schedule to release. So maintaining this consistent and high performance experience is very difficult. It's not easy. And when the customer is not happy, they don't just complain, they just leave your web page, leave your app, and it could be just a simple delay, but what you get is the risk to your revenue and also a risk to the brand trust. So performance is not technical anymore. It's more like a business concern as well. A bit of stats. Over 80% of customers will not return if they don't like the experience. And on the mobile, over half of the people will not come back if they need to wait even 3 seconds. So the question is, how do we prevent these problems before they impact the user? And the problems do happen, and when the problems happen, it's really hard to have everything on track and to trace everything back. Without observability, teams are blind to what's really going on in your system. Troubleshooting can be very slow because you don't have all the observability data. The team, there could be lots of teams, lots of tools, and the tools can be siloed. So for example, your backend engineers could see some data, but it is not the same data than, for example, SRE are looking at. On top of that, for example, when you found an error, you can't really understand if this error is something that is related to the business or what is the business impact of fixing this particular issue. So this is why we need the full visibility across the system and to have great user experience. Monitoring and observability, this is like two buzzwords, so they're everywhere. And what I have seen that monitoring and observability, you often used interchangeably, but it is not the same. let's look how why they're different and why does this matter when we troubleshooting complex modern applications. So what is monitoring? Monitoring is about watching the known things, things like CPU, memory, error rates. So you watch these things, you set up a threshold, you set up an alert dashboard, and you get alerted when something is wrong. So basically, what it does, it answers the question: is it working? Yes or no? But we assume that you already know that you are monitoring. And I really like this metaphor. It's like a security camera. So monitoring is like a security camera. You know where you put it. You know what you are like, which site you are watching, and you know at which point you are triggering an alarm. So this is monitoring. And if something happens outside these security cameras, you have no visibility what's happening. Now, let's go into the observability. Observability takes this concept of monitoring and just add extra details. So we're going deeper. Another metaphor. So if we think about monitoring and observability, we can think of this iceberg. So on top of the water, this is like monitoring. Like here we can see CPU usage, different errors, and under the water, this is the observability. So this is where we get the context, the cause, and relationship across the services. And it is really valuable to have observability if you have like distributed and complex systems. Okay. Has anyone seen this illusion before? So basically, this illusion was done by Kokichi Suguhara. I might pronounce it completely wrong, but this was his entry to the competition of illusion, and he won. So you can see that he has this shape, and depending on which angle you look at, you can see either a circle, a square, or something in between. And this is happening in engineering too. If you look at for example, like at just metrics or just logs or just traces, your view of the system might be not correct. So observability is combining all these different perspectives so we understand the system as the whole. Okay, super. So what are those perspectives, how we look at observability? Metrics, logs, and traces. So this is more like traditional way of looking at it. Some companies are also adding events, but you can think of event is it's a log as well. So we'll keep this free for today. So the first one is the metric, and metrics show the trends and the performance over time. Logs tell us what happened at specific point, and traces help us to understand end-to-end behavior. So when we use together all three pillars, we can understand what is wrong and why it's happening. Let me just give you a quick example of each of them. So this is how the metric will typically like. So we have a name of the metric, and it's usually cascaded depending, like, for example, if it is like metric, I don't know, from Amazon, etc., it will be cascaded. Then we have a metrics value, and then we have a timestamp, and then the tags that associated with this. And tags are really important because tags is when you can slice and dice data. So for example, you can have the same metric, but the tag would be like production environment or development environment. And with the tags, you can there's several ways to add the tags. And you have if you use some vendors, they will do lots of tagging outside of the box as well. Okay, so this is the logs. Everyone is familiar with the logs. Basically it's like we're logging everything that is happening in the system, and the logs are sometimes more descriptive than metrics because we can see what happening like action after action. And in terms of observability, logs are really important because they can, if we don't know if there is a problem, we could check the logs and see and find the problem. Okay, so we have lots of logs, we have volume of logs. So what we can do with them? One of the things that we can do with the logs is to group logs in the patterns, right? So we can group them by the message. And this functionality will be depending on the system you're using, but usually you would get the logs pattern. And here again, for the troubleshooting purposes, you can see which is the log which is the log pattern that has the highest count and highest volume. And then you can look through the logs and find like a business critical pattern and then dive deeper. Okay, so the last but not the least, we have traces. And traces is where we put everything together. So we trace the request, and again depends on the vendors, but usually what you have, you will have the trace, and you will see how much time is spent in each service. So again, really helpful for the troubleshooting and monitoring. Okay, so let's bring it home back to .NET. So how to go ahead and monitoring .NET. Let's look at the a few approaches, and all of them depends how you would like to control the data, how much you want to get involved in observability. So these are a few options how you can start with the observability. So the first one is the manual code instrumentation, and it gives you lots of control. You can use different libraries. So we will talk today about telemetry, but it doesn't need to be telemetry. You can use, for example, application inside the SDK or others. So it depends on you. The next one is out-of-process observability, because in .NET we have the diagnostic pipeline called event pipe, and it lets tool like .NET monitoring attached to your running app. So again, this could be a good way to start, and you don't need to do much work. It's low overhead, it's production safe, and there is no memory dumps as well. Okay, so and the last option that I put together is startup hooks and automatic instrumentation, and this is basically more out of the box way to do that with the agent. And this is the way where you say you don't have access or you don't want to modify the application. You will go with the third option. Okay, as I mentioned, OpenTelemetry is one of the libraries I want to focus today. So what is OpenTelemetry and why it is so popular now? Okay, let me just build this up. Okay, super. So OpenTelemetry, or OTel for short, and it is standard collection of APIs and SDKs across different programming languages, and it is really important because it has the same semantic convention. So, for example, if you look at one language and comfortable with OpenTelemetry, and they look another language, you will have the same semantic convention. It's really great. And also, OpenTelemetry has really powerful tools such as collector and operator, and they will help you to manage the data, and I will show them as well. Okay, so this is the chart that I got from CNCF. And basically what it shows you, like, which are the projects with the biggest commit. And here we can see OpenTelemetry on the top, just behind the Kubernetes. So it is ranked second in deployment velocity. And what it means that, of course, it's very popular, and it means that lots of vendors, lots of big players, they do invest in this project, and they see future of this project too. Okay, so let me, oops. I just, okay. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying just to get on this URL.
Slides is cooperating. Sharing screen over Zoom.
Right. Oh. Okay, I might need to quickly. Sorry about that. Okay. So basically what we have, there is a Grafana, like public Grafana dashboard that can show you all the different like contributions. And also what I want to show here is the amount of commits. So you can see how it's like amount of commits is increasing year over year. And actually, you can see the spikes. I checked, I zoomed in. It's Christmas holidays. So nobody works on Christmas holidays, even people who are keen in open telemetry. Okay, and one more thing. I wanted to show you the okay. Business contributor and D5. Yeah. So what I wanted to show you is the contribution to OpenTelemetry project. So of course you would think that all the observability vendors would be interested to develop this standard. And we can see like Elastic, Datadog, Dynatrace, New Relic, all in the top 10. But at the same time, we see Microsoft, we can see like Cisco, Google, etc. So you can see that even like big boys are also interested in OpenTelemetry. It's not just the vendor story. Okay, so let me just go back to my slides. Okay, it's working. Okay, super. So at its core, OpenTelemetry is focused on 4 things. So this is generation of data, collection of data, managing and exporting the telemetry. And with the OpenTelemetry, what is important to understand is OpenTelemetry is not a backend, and it is not a visual, like a tool for visual representation of the data. And what OpenTelemetry makes it very clear, OpenTelemetry is not, it's not a backend. And what OpenTelemetry, if you go to OpenTelemetry website, they do have a vision and values, and they do have a roadmap. So it's all very clear. And also we say that because it's so clear, the vision and roadmap is so clear and defined, that's why so many people and so many vendors are interested in developing OpenTelemetry as a whole. Okay, so done with the justification. Now let's go what it actually is. So why should I care about it? And why all the vendors are embracing it? So Again, in the past, we wanted to do you wanted to do observability, there was always a choice of the vendor, but using the vendor, you kind of locked into the vendor. And what OpenTelemetry means is that it is like vendor neutral, and it provides support for all common languages with a single set of API and convention. So basically, it brings this standardization and flexibility across the whole vendors. Okay, well, forgive me the companies, because I used to work for New Relic, now I work with Datadog. So when I was doing slides, this was the two companies that got in my mind. First, why companies care, and why would you want to care about open telemetry? So the first one is data portability. So once you have everything set up, you can use one vendor, and it doesn't need to be like a vendor. You can be like using like open source, Prometheus and Grafana, and then you I don't know, for some reason move. You can you don't need to reconfigure, redo like this setup. You have everything there. And at the same time, what I have seen as well, the data flexibility is very useful. So sometimes, even like in the process of migration, you want to keep one data source already running, and then, for example, to move the second data source, or slice it differently by application to another. To another place. So basically, what you can do, you can do mix and match, and just be control of your observability data. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So another reason to use OpenTelemetry is the open source as a cultural choice. So I have seen this around a lot as well. Okay, super. So now let's talk about which types of OpenTelemetry, which types of metrics, logs, and traces can OpenTelemetry produce. Well, there is no surprise. OpenTelemetry produced the same these fundamental metrics that we have spoken about. They produce the traces and the spans, so we know exactly where the problem happening. And I just wanted to say, here we have just a representation of the request, and each of these squares are the spans, and what it shows us is which span took the longest time, etc., and it's just great for troubleshooting. Okay, so the metrics, OpenTelemetry does have metrics. So here we can see the system metrics that are common to everyone, like a CPU and memory consumption. Okay, so other metrics are runtime metrics. Here we're showing that OTel can emit runtime metrics for some programming languages. And the third view is the business metrics, and we will talk about them a little bit as well. Okay, so then the logs. So the logs are not as mature as the traces and metrics, but it is changing. You can see with OpenTelemetry, lots of things are changing. So the logs will become more mature soon. Okay, and here is the latest addition to OpenTelemetry. So this is the profiling, and it was officially given and merged in 2024, and it was given by Elastic. So they how to say, donated their part of the code to OpenTelemetry. And what profiling does, it helps you to observe what your code is doing at the runtime. For example, which method took the most CPU or memory. So this is also really, really important. Okay, so you would say everything is good, but where do I start? So here, let's look at a few simple steps, like how you can start working with OTL and observability. What you will need to do is to do some form of instrumentation for observability data, because it just needed we need to do some of the work to get the data out. Okay, so as always, there is a few options. First is the manual instrumentation. Then, so manual instrumentation, again, it will give you the full control of what you want to instrument. And for example, if you have some custom algorithm, etc., that you want to get observability, you will need to use manual instrumentation. Then plug and play, and this is with the libraries. So with the libraries, it gets you quite a good of breadth of data, and without too much work needed. And if for some reason you you don't want to, or you're not allowed to touch the code, or there is some very old repositories that you really don't want to touch in case there could be some problems, or at the same time, if you don't have much time and you want everything to be done for you. So this is the zero code instrumentation, the final option. And as a profiling, the zero code instrumentation is one of the latest addition to OpenTelemetry project. Okay, so okay. So again, manual instrumentation is targeted, is full control, is intentional. And here you spend quite a bit of effort of doing this, but as a trade-off, you have this precision, depth, and customization. And it's very easy to do. So what you need to do is to add a few packages. If you use SP Netcore, you will add additional packages. So it's really that easy. And on this screen, you can see the full example of this manual setup for .NET hosting model. So first here we identify the namespaces for tracing metrics, logs, and resourcing. Then we define the service name, and then we configure OpenTelemetry SDK dependency injections. Let's just zoom in a few things in this snippet. So first of all, as I have shown you, the tags are really important, and you also want you also want to know from which service, which version this telemetry is coming from. So what you can see here, we specify two variables that will be attached to all the telemetry that is produced here. Well, of course, it's not the best practice. It should be somewhere in the config files or environment variables, not in the plain code. Okay, and here we are zooming in on the OpenTelemetry configuration as such. So here we adding this service name and service version, and then we looking to instrument the tracing, we initiating the tracing, the metrics, and the logs. So this is where you get started. And all these snapshots were taken from OpenTelemetry documentation, so it's really good. It has lots of code snippets, and also it has it has a full project that you can start. For example, you I don't know, use Datadog, New Relic, Grafana, etc. You can just plug and play. And this will be like the first step I would recommend. The second option we were talking about is to start instrumenting using the libraries. In OpenTelemetry, there is over, I feel I checked yesterday, 110 libraries, and quite a lot of them are .NET. So basically, just choose the libraries of your choice, and you can start using them. At the same time, I want to highlight that these libraries are like really, they are actively developed. So you can see that like the last commit, like what is it, like 2 months ago. So it's like all breathing problems. Okay, and yeah, on this screenshot, I put just a few common libraries for like HTTP calls, server-side requests, database requests. So this is a really good start. Okay, well, at the same time, we do have zero-code instrumentation that is really great to get started. As I mentioned, this is relatively new. It was added in September 2023. So yeah, so like very new, but at the same time, no need to touch the code. So the instrumentation will be done with using like environment variables, and basically it's really easy. It's really easy to set up. So as you can see, so this is the this is what you will do in practice on Windows, just using PowerShell. You download the instrumentation module, you register it for the session, and you run the app. So very easy to do. Okay, so on the Linux is not much different. Again, just a few simple steps to get you running. Okay. And what is great that there is a zero-code instrumentation also for like for containers, especially Kubernetes. Imagine you have like I don't know, you're working with like more than 10 development teams, and you can't even like, you know, like it will be so difficult for you to go to every team and ask them to do the changes. So almost impossible. So what we can do here, you can use the zero instrumentation at scale with Kubernetes. So it will do in automatic injection, and it is a developer-free setup. So you can just do it on Kubernetes. Super. Of course, there is a trade-off in zero instrumentation, but at the same time, it does give you quite a lot of information. So this is like the different metrics. All out of the box. And with this zero instrumentation, what you can do, you can plug the backend, and you can plug the like Grafana, New Relic, Datadog, etc., to visualize it. And by doing this, you already have something visual. You have a dashboard with like your telemetry data. Okay, but with zero-code instrumentation, they wouldn't know like your specifics. And for example, going back to application, you want to know if you're in e-commerce application, what was the highest transaction, how often people buy this product to that product, all these different metrics. So you can do both. You can do a manual instrumentation for custom metrics and combine it to like zero-code instrumentation. So it is all possible. And one of the great strengths of OpenTelemetry is the broad language support. So whenever your backend is any of these languages, you can use OpenTelemetry, and it makes much easier to like scale observability across different teams, different products, when different teams using different languages. But there is a catch. Not all languages are as mature and as stable in OpenTelemetry as .NET. So basically, what actually I have checked a month before, and some languages were like still in development, but it changes. But good news for us, .NET fully stable. So we do have traces, metrics, and logs all in stable version. And what in practical it means that it is production ready and you can use it in real world examples. I remember even like a year or 2 years ago with like different languages, you can get different experience, and sometimes it would be like some memory leaks, loops, etc., etc. But here there is no risks of this happening. All right, so here we have spoken about OpenTelemetry as a whole. We have spoken which data OpenTelemetry collects, and also how to start with the manual, library, or zero-code instrumentation. Here I want to mention about the other OpenTelemetry component, and it is a collector. So collector is the vendor agnostic way to receive, process, and export telemetry data. And let me give you an example. So basically, we collect the data, and instead of sending it directly to observability backend, we have something in the middle, and it is OpenTelemetry collector. And what it does, it can send data to any backend, and at the same time, it's very powerful too. Okay, so collector, it handles all metrics, logs, and traces. And inside collector, there is like a pipeline, or it receives data, processes data, and exports data. And it's very useful because you don't, like, for example, if you collected something, like you send it to the backend, then you collect something again, you can send it to the backend. And what OpenTelemetry collector does, it combines all together and will send it all together. It has different exporters as well, so it can be like you can send data to different location to like different popular monitoring solutions or technology. At the same time, this collector can get data from all the different sources. And the trick is that collector can get the data even not from OpenTelemetry. For example, you're migrating and you have some data from other systems. So collector can get this information, combine and send. So this might really appeal to the teams migrating gradually from like legacy monitoring setup to a bit more like new setup as well. And one of the like a few examples, this collector can receive data from like Prometheus, FluentBit, StatsD. So like there is a lot of options as well. Okay, so once we receive the information, sorry, did I move it? Okay. We wanted to, like, we might choose to do some processing. We don't have to, but for example, if there could be like some legal requirements to change the logs or remove some PII or sensitive information from logs. We wanted to like delete some of the telemetry data because, for example, if you use it, like you could use like zero-code instrumentation, and it could generate so much data, and like you don't need this data. You just need the data that is useful for you and your team. And these modifications will be done inside OpenTelemetry collector. Okay, and then once you collect, you need to send the data, so you can use the exporters. And again, there is a various exporter depending on your preference. And at the same time, with like OpenTelemetry collector, it could be not as it's not very simple. You can also do some complex things and do a connector from different pipelines. So if you have a bit more complex case, OpenTelemetry collector with connector will be able to handle it all together. Okay, super. All right, so we spoke about OpenTelemetry, and OpenTelemetry is a vendor neutral, it's agnostic tool. But it is your choice. It is a choice what you wanted to want to use. So whether it is OpenTelemetry or different commercial solutions. What I put here is a magic quadrant done by Gartner, and you can see all the different commercial solutions that are currently on the market. And I'm sure, most of you have heard, has seen, had worked with them as well. And this magic quadrant, they do this report every year. So if you're interested in this space, or actually they do reports across various different tools, I don't know, security, front end, etc., etc. But this is just a good source to familiarize yourself what's on the market and what are the leaders in the market. All right, but what I want to leave you with is the message: you don't need to choose. What you can do, you can use best of both worlds. Previously, you would need to have a vendor agent that will be doing all the job. It will be hard to migrate, but now because of the increasing adoption and how OpenTelemetry is popular, most vendors have adopted to OpenTelemetry, whether it is collector or whether it's there's a few options whether you put agent and collector. So basically there is lots of options to do, whether you choose to go natively, whether you to use some commercial solution. It's all great for all our application and to increase reliability and observability as well. Okay, well, I feel like I missed the thank you slides, but I will just tell you now, thank you so much for your attention. Hope it was useful.